and or watching to the Black Eagles podcast, a Beşiktaş talk show.
Ahmet Dursun Sergen aldı. Sergen Bülent yan yana. Sergen Bülent. Sergen. Yanında Tümer var. Tümer'e doğru aksiyon kaybetti. Tümer topu aldı. Sergen aldı. Gol! Gol! Gol! Sergen attı. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi.
İbrahim'in pası. Roma. Şimdi Ahmet. İkinci gole gidiyor Besiktas. Ahmet. Ve
Hello, Black Eagles. Welcome back to the Black Eagles podcast. I'm going to apologize in advance, also for Kartal swearing. There might be plenty of swearing here tonight, but that one was incidental. But I'm going to apologize in advance because I've been having some serious network issues the last week with my internet service provider, and that's also the reason why we're starting late, because my internet just decided to nope out on us. And this might happen during the broadcast. If that does happen, I do apologize. We are going to work on this week, that we're going to get Sinan set up that he can stream future episodes.
I'll be the host.
In case that I'm not able to do this, because my internet service provider, I did call them, and they did send over a technician, and the guy said they could take a couple of weeks. So unfortunately, this might be a problem that isn't quickly resolved, but we're going to make the best of it, and we're going to try and make an episode for you tonight about Beşiktaş's game against Samsunspor, which ended in 1-1 all square. Unfortunately, an important game for the Black Eagles for the race for Europe. This game, if we would have won it, we would have taken us into third position, at least on level points with both Samsunspor and Göztepe. Göztepe drew on the weekend against, I believe, Kocaelispor. And of course, now we just drew with Samsunspor. This puts us 3 points behind Samsun, who were already 3 points ahead, obviously. And it puts us 2 points behind Göztepe, who are in 5th, and 1 point behind Gaziantep, who are in 6th. So Beşiktaş are currently sitting in 7th place under Sergen Yalçın. And we're going to talk about this game. It was a tale of two halves again, something recurring. And if you remember from his first stint, I don't know, Kartal, I feel like you were talking about this a lot back then, but it felt like we were playing a lot of good halves and a lot of bad halves, even in his first stint as manager for Beşiktaş. And that's recurring now. It was a decent, I thought, first half, but the second half, really disappointing, right?
I mean, look, overall, I don't think we deserve to win this game. Even in the first half, where you're saying we're decent, I'm going to be completely honest and say I was working today, and working customer services, and for the last 4 years I've exclusively doing delivery arranging, which I don't need to focus on as much, so I can, even if I'm working, I could quite easily watch the game at the same time. But the last kind of month or so, I've been doing more complaints, so I need to obviously concentrate on that more. And I can't really focus on the game as much. So I did see. I mean, I saw most of the key moments still. And from what I saw, I thought Samson were maybe, obviously they had a lot less of the ball, but they were more affected than us, I felt. But there were some decent moments. The team did look pretty hungry, I thought. I don't know about you guys. It looked like they were trying to make things happen. They weren't really able to make a lot of things happen, but I mean, there was still, like, Cherny had a good chance, and then there's a couple of kind of half positions as well. But I still think Samson had the better of the chances. Don't know about you guys.
Yeah. Sinan, what do you?
Oh yeah, no question.
Especially in the first half as well, right? Like, it was a decent first half, but Samsun forced Ersin to make 3 good saves.
Yeah. I've been probably the slowest to come around to this idea, but I think in modern football, increasingly, possession is almost a meaningless stat, and you guys keep reminding me of that. You know, like in brighter days where I felt like that was maybe more of a reflection of how we were playing. But I think today was a case of like, regardless of how much possession we had, they were far more dangerous. They were like a hot knife through butter, and it wasn't even necessarily like they were playing stout kind of anti-football, counter-attacking. Like, we didn't have enough of the ball in a very comfortable position where you could be like, they were sitting back and defending. No, like, we were sort of bumbling around in the midfield, and then they would take possession and have an organized, planned attack that was quick and incisive, right? But so it's not quite counter-attacking anti-football that they're playing. And I think they'll feel hard done by here, right? They'll walk away from this thinking they should have gotten 3 points on the road. Although perhaps just given the history of the two clubs and the sort of comparative squad values, they'll take heart from just taking a point on the road against Beşiktaş, as one should, historically, theoretically. But I don't know, man. Right? Like they deserve to win this game. I'm surprised. Like Ersin had, I thought, a standout performance.
I wasn't. I mean, I think I agree with you that they didn't play anti-football or anything like that. They were very well organized. That was also highlighted, I believe, by Güntekin Donay during halftime. This is one of the best organized defensive units in the league. They did really well marking down. For example, if you look in the first half, El Bilal Touré was found on the left quite frequently, but he was always locked down by two players very effectively. They were double covering the important players, Cengiz, Černý, El Bilal Touré, Tammy Abraham. Like, they were on them like flies on a pile of shit, really. Really good organized defending by Samsunspor. And then, like you said, like a hot knife through butter on the break. It felt like, especially in the first half, I thought our defense was really poor. Every time they came running at us, that resulted in, I thought, a clear shot on goal. I did think that improved in the second half. Gabriel Paulista had some really crucial interventions. Ridvan had one really good intervention. Yeah. Emirhan had one. But all in all, especially in the first half, I thought defensively it was a weak showing on our part. But there was, like Cathal said, there was hunger going forward. There was desire. It didn't result in a lot of chances. And I already showed these stats up here earlier. But as you can see, the XG is in favor of Samsun. The possession, like you said, Sinan, is in favor of us. But it's also the big chances. We had two big chances. One of those is the penalty. The other one, I would think, is the chance for Václav Černý in the first half, which Okan Koçuk saved. Then
pretty good save in his defense.
Yeah, it was an excellent save. And then Samsun had three big chances, missed two, obviously, and scored the one. Ironically, the one that they scored is the one that we kind of gifted them on a silver platter, because Cengiz, with a really poor back pass, sets Sheriff Ndiaye up for the goal. He still has to beat Ersin, obviously. It wasn't a freebie.
I think, see, even that stat of three big chances, I think that's pretty modest, man. I can think of one extra chance, at least, and maybe one more even after that.
Yeah, I mean, Ersin had 3 saves in the first half, and I think all 3 were big chances, honestly. So that's 3 right there, and then you have the goal, that's 4. And then I'm trying to think whether there's another one.
A couple of there was one really big chance towards the end of the game as well, I'm sure.
One really big chance towards the end of the game. I can't remember it honestly.
Yeah, I'll get up the minute right there. You guys keep talking.
I think I remember the one you're talking about. But if you look at the at the flow chart, there were a couple of opportunities they had. I mean, the first half. Yeah. But I mean, the flow chart is pretty interesting. I mean, It's flattering.
The
to us,
momentum,
which I
the
guess
momentum
suggests-
chart. You mean? I mean,
The momentum
you know,
chart.
but to say that like they'll feel hard done by not winning, I don't know about that though, because I didn't see the hunger there once the equalizer was found. I didn't really see the hunger there to find
That's
the
true.
winning goal
Yeah.
on their part.
That's true.
I had the impression
Yeah,
that they
I'll
were
give you that.
satisfied with the point, and I also think up until the 1-0, we were the more hungry team. We were the team pressing. We were the team looking forward, trying to create. They were the team trying to lean on the counter, and like we said, I mean, very well organized. Samsunspor, all the credit to them. But what bothered me most, guys, is the fact that after we score, which was I would say it was deserved, because we were prodding, we were searching, we were trying to find openings. It was difficult against them. But then we score, and immediately after, you can tell Samsunspor's entire game plan revolved around being well organized, hard to break down, and then try and hit us on the break. But as soon as we score, they completely turned it around. They pressed us back into our own half, and they pushed us with our backs against the wall, and they smothered us until they found the goal just 10 minutes later. And I think that is quite telling that Samsunspor's coach and Samsunspor's squad are able to do that, because nobody can tell me that Samsunspor have a better quality squad than we do. Not even a more balanced squad than we do, because that kite isn't flying anymore. Ole had to work with very limited resources, I think, in terms of squad. But right now, what Sergen has available to him, he has a squad available to him that is good enough. And he is not able to find solutions. But look at Thomas Reis at Samsunspor. They go a goal down and they immediately have a plan B. They switch to it and it works. Where's Sergen's plan B? And I think that all starts with the lineup, because we at the top of the show we're talking about this. The first half was good, decent. Second half, we fell off a cliff. And it's been a team under Sergen repeatedly. It was already a team in his first stint, but it's more so now than ever, I would say. And I think all of that, we've talked about this in the past, it starts with the starting lineup. I mean, there were rumors going into this game that Jota Silva had earned himself a start after his positive showing against Antalyaspor last week as a sub, scoring a great goal as well. So there were rumors that he was going to start. And that would either put El Bilal Touré on the bench or as the striker. Now, personally, I think Tammy Abraham should always be the starting striker. However,
I agree.
I'm fine with, if you want to experiment, if you want to put El Bilal up there instead, that's fine. But the problem is that at the end of the day, he still went with the usual suspects. He hasn't changed anything.
Right.
And this whole notion of, okay, Sergen doesn't like Rafa Silva and he wants to play with a 4-1-1? But he's
4-1-4-1.
But he is still playing a 4-2-3-1 even now with Rafa Silva not there. He's still putting Černý on the 10, so he can put Cengiz on the right, obviously, and then he's still shoehorning El Bilal Touré in on the left and playing Tammy up top. And then he put Salih in instead of Kartal or Demirege. I don't know what the reasoning is behind that. And again, Jallo dropped to the bench once again as well for Gabriel Paulista. Now, it has to be said, Paulista has been playing well recently, I think, and he had a good game today as well. But
I've long suspected that he's also a locker room favorite. I think he's a leader in there as a veteran, and I think he's well respected. So I'm willing to give any coach the benefit of the doubt if he's playing well.
I don't have issue. I don't have much of an issue with that.
I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. We'll tell you why, guys. Because Thiago Jallo is 25 years old. Gabriel Paulista is 45 years old. Thiago
35
Jallo
and injury
prone.
prone.
Played, so this is the guy
that's a great point.
For this show, he's the one that should be playing. I think there's rumours that the Jallo transfer, that Graf played a part in that. Maybe this is another. Maybe that's the reason why he's getting cut.
Oh shit!
In terms of the chance I was talking about, it was minute 82. They had a very good chance through Paul Yalders. It was 0.43 xG. It was 1-on-1 with the keeper with Aston.
When it comes to central defenders, I have less of an issue with it, because central defenders is usually one of the most rotated spots in a squad due to suspensions. They're the most
and we have a good rotation.
Yeah, and they're the players who are most likely to pick up a yellow card suspension. So you're going to see more rotation there. So I'm I'm not so much in favor of, okay, you need to have the same two defenders next to each other all the time. I do think that there's room for some rotation there. And I think with Gabriel Paulista's injury proneness, it's and him coming off injury, it's not a bad idea to get him that match rhythm again. But I also agree with Carthel that Jallo has more of an upside, obviously.
Yeah. And my one pet peeve is that if this is all in the name of squad rotation, why is Felix Udokai the one guy that's completely iced out and never gets any play? Because I don't think he deserved that.
He hasn't. When's the last time Udokai has played? I wonder. And that's also, it's also a sad thing because that's one of those players that actually has value, market value. That's somebody you could be selling for maybe 5-6 million. And now, by completely icing him, like you say, Sinan, I think you're lucky if you can get 2.5, 3 in the winter or in the summer. You're devaluing at least 50% by doing this.
He's
I think.
Played.
Just real quick, 1 second on the technical
games.
Real quick, guys, on the technical side, if you need to log out and re-watch us after we're done recording, I think that should fix some of the buffering issues. So yeah, apologies again for technical issues. I see a lot of those comments. It's a shame, but yeah, we'll work on this. I'll host the next one. Don't worry, folk.
The buffering issues is purely down to my internet, guys. There's not much I can do about it, unfortunately. I mean, if it's really bad and if it doesn't sort itself out, I will just re-upload this because obviously I'm also recording this. And on my end, while recording this, everything's fine. So I can always delete the live show and re-upload it later as a video. And I'll do that if necessary, if it doesn't sort itself out afterwards. But if you're not able to properly watch us live, I do apologize for that. It's not much I can do about it, unfortunately. All right, let's talk about the other big elephant in the room, though. At Salih Uçan starting here, and Salih in 2025, he's 32 years old. I didn't think he was terrible today, I have to say, but you've got Kartal Kayra Yilmaz, who's a youth academy product. You've got Demir Ege Tiknas, who's a youth academy product. Both players who are from our own youth. They're Turkish. They have quality to them. I don't think that a 32-year-old Salih Uçan warrants playtime over these two. And the argument of, he's picking experience over youth, that's also BS, I think. There's no need for that in this. I think it's a really...
How much did we turn down for Demir Ege?
There was never an offer, I think. I don't think there was ever a concrete offer.
What was it like? What was the buyout? Like 5 or 6 mil?
No,
supposedly.
Rio Ave had the option to buy him for 5, and they were holding out for an offer of 8 or 9 million in order to trigger so that they could make a profit. But that offer never came. Now he did have a good.
They wanted it from Rangers.
He did have an excellent season in Portugal, and I do think that that there's an upside to him. I've been famously critical of him in the previous 2 years. The year before mainly, but not last season, but the season before. I've been critical of him, and I don't think he's ready to be a Beşiktaş starter. But I think these are the moments where you do need to give him the opportunities, and I think the problem is that, like Salih Uçan, we know at 32 he isn't a Beşiktaş starter level player anymore. Kartal Kayra and Demir Ege, I don't think they are noticeably worse. And on the Demir Ege is 10 years younger or 11 years younger. Kartal Kayra is 6 or 7 years younger. Both of these players are so much younger. They have the potential of being part of the squad in the coming years. I don't see the benefit to picking Salih over either of them. Now, look, it could have been Salih scores a goal today. Salih is somebody who has a knack for scoring goals, both with his head and with his feet. But so does Demir Ege. Kartal Kayra is a threat on set pieces. And that's another part of, I think, why we drop off so much in the second half. He takes these players out. He takes Cengiz out, obviously, because Cengiz tires. But then 10 minutes, 15 minutes later, he takes Černý out as well. So at that moment, you're left without anyone to take a set piece. Because Černý and Cengiz are the guys who are taking the set pieces. At that point in time, before he puts on Katlakaira Yilmaz, which he put on in the last 5 minutes of the game, there's nobody left on the pitch who could take a corner, a proper corner kick, or a proper free kick. So even that, for me, shows very poor match planning, very poor squad selection. And we've talked about this in past weeks. I think it all starts with your starting lineup. It's not because El Bilal Touré is on paper maybe one of your 11 best players in the squad that he also needs to start. Because I think you have to make a choice. Either you go with Abraham or you go with El Bilal Touré. But El Bilal Touré on the left against a team that sits back deep like this, he's not super effective. Now, I don't think he played a bad game, but...
No, but also another thing that every single match that he's played on the left side, he's gone down for a prolonged period of time where it's looked like he was injured because of a nasty tackle or whatever it is. And every single time it happens, I'm like, holy crap, now we don't have a backup striker and we're going to be stuck with Mustafa Hekimoğlu coming in soon. Yeah, and luckily he picked himself back up, and he hasn't had a prolonged injury. But that's what you're risking, right? Is you're risking if one of those two gets injured in a match, or just whatever has to be taken out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Whether it's Tammy or Touré, yeah, exactly. And also, I think I've noticed this. So we've noticed it with both of them. I think Tammy does run out of gas a little bit, but so does El Bilal Touré. He wins the penalty in the 56th minute, but then I think in the remainder of the game, after Tammy comes out and he moves to the 9, he had a couple of moments. I think there was a moment where Van Drongelen brought him down and the ref waved play on or even gave the foul against him. So he wasn't bad at the 9, but I also think that you benefit more from being able to bring on a fresh striker in the 60th minute. Whether that's El Bilal Touré or Tammy Abraham, I think you benefit more from that. And right now, what you get is you take out Cengiz, you take out Černý, you take out Tammy. So you put on Jota, he moves to the left. El Bilal moves to the 9. You take out Cengiz, you put in Rashica, and then you take out Vaclav Černý, you put on Demirege. Now look, okay, obviously because of the absence of Rafa Silva and Orkun, Sergen has less options now. So this criticism, I think, is a little bit less prudent than it was a few weeks ago when he had those options of Rafa and Orkun. But by the way, like, not having the option of Rafa is his own fault. So I don't know how much of an excuse he deserves there. But still, I think you can plan better going into this game. I think if you start this game with Jota on the left, and then you put whether it's Tammy or El Bilal up top, and then you at least save yourself a really fired up striker for the second half. That alone could make a bit of a difference. But even,
not to mention, how has Hotat still not earned a start after, it's almost farcical at this point.
Well,
I don't really know what else he can do.
He hasn't been amazing or anything, but he has shown flashes. And it's not like these other players have been amazing. Like, Cengiz shows flashes, but he's not been amazing. Mainly because he's only good for like 60 minutes. Vaclav Černý, I thought he was good in the first half. In the second half, I barely saw him. And then I feel like that's been a theme with him as well. Like, he's been...
What the fuck?
We've seen his quality at times, but then... What is this? Is that spam?
It's like a crazy person. It's funny, I can't delete it from the thing because it's already... Like, live chat auto deleted it, but...
Yeah.
It made it through our... Yeah.
Let's not react to it. But, I mean... I don't know, man. Like, I feel like everyone's been underwhelming. Like, all the new signings as well. Like, Černý, you can see there's quality there, but he isn't consistent. He isn't... We've said this at the start. Like, he has to be more decisive. He has to be more consistent. And he's not been. Cengiz, the same thing. I think El Bilal Touré today, I don't know how you guys felt, but I think he was maybe the most lively and probably the best of the starting attackers. The the 4 attackers that we had on the pitch, I thought maybe El Bilal Touré was probably the best. Maybe I don't even know for sure.
I thought it might be Czerny. I thought Czerny was very active. Remember, he had a shot saved.
Yeah.
He had a number of shots blocked. You're right. Yeah, second half was. I also thought Tammy Abraham. Maybe this is a hot take, but I thought Tammy Abraham was actually kind of growing into the game a little bit. He nutmegged a guy and had a pretty decent shot.
Then he had a shot, yeah, but that got blocked. I thought I agree with you, but all of that stops as soon as we score. I feel like as soon as we score, I felt like any modicum of growing into the game from anyone really was gone, because suddenly we found ourselves on the back foot and we couldn't really respond. And that to me, it's like you don't have as a coach. Do we not have a plan? Like, you need to have a plan for going a goal down. How do you react to going a goal down? But I think you likewise need to have a plan in place for going a goal up. And I feel like we don't. We react to scoring as poorly as we do to going a goal down. Especially in this game we did. And maybe that's more credit to Samsun, but I also feel like that's a coaching issue. I feel like that's a preparation issue.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I felt like we didn't really deserve the lead that we took.
I think we did.
I mean, at the time I didn't feel like it, so I wasn't like when they equalized, there was nothing surprising about it to me. Plus, they were pushing for it immediately as soon as we scored. Like you said, I mean, they changed their plan. It was very effective. But
yeah, once yeah. I mean,
I don't know, man.
They had right after we scored, they have a long ball over the top that Ridvan has to come from behind to steal it from whoever it was, Ndiaye or one of their other African players up top. I don't remember exactly who it was, but that was a really crucial intervention by Ridvan. That's seconds after the kickoff. And then after that, almost exactly the same thing happens again. And it's within 2 minutes of us taking a lead.
Musaba.
Within 2 minutes of us taking a lead, they have 2 splitting passes that rip our defense open. It's where's the organization? It's everything out of the window all of a sudden. I don't know, man. Such a poor performance. In terms of reacting to going a goal up. You'd think that would invigorate a team, but it did the opposite to us today.
Yeah, it just felt like. Go ahead, Cartel. Yeah, you haven't said much.
If you look at our season so far, think about all the games we went ahead and not won. So clearly, going a goal up doesn't invigorate this team at all. If you look at the Galatasaray game, the Fenerbahce game, the Kasımpaşa game, the Gençler Birliği game today. So we have a track record of fucking up after we go up. So it seems like this isn't a team that is invigorated by going a goal up. There's a weird mindset in the team for sure. I don't know if that's been instilled if that's the coach's fault or not. I think he has to take a good portion of the blame anyway, considering it's his job to motivate these players and give them the tactics and get them playing well.
Yeah,
won't go away.
and he's not taking responsibility. He doesn't seem to think that he's responsible for it. I don't know. I get serious 2021, 2022 vibes from Sergen when we were on the winless streak, where he just could not find a solution and where he eventually ended up throwing in the towel. I'm getting that vibe from Sergen right now. I feel like he doesn't have answers. And I don't think he has excuses right now, because in 2021, 2022 at least, there was a serious epidemic of injuries. He was missing a lot of his better players. And there were also really dubious referee decisions going against us, if you'll remember that Adana Demirspor game. But now, I feel like there's very little excuses to be made. And look, sometimes excuses are valid, I think. Sometimes,
Sure.
But right now, I mean, other than the fact that he doesn't have Orkun available, because that's all on Orkun for taking that red card against Fenerbahce. But other than that, I don't think he has any excuse for missing out on players. Like Rafa, he alienated. Jurasek is available, but he alienated him. Thailand Bulut alienated him. Who am I forgetting? Like, there's so many players that have become persona.
Jota.
Yeah, Jota as well to an extent. There's so many players that have become persona non grata. He has a squad available to him, but he's utilizing about 60% of that squad. So, he's not trying to tinker. He's not trying to look for solutions. The thing with Ole last season was he was constantly tinkering, constantly looking for solutions, for new tactics, new approaches. He was always trying.
But you know what,
stuff.
Con? It goes further than that, actually, in that Ole was very obviously willing to sacrifice results for the greater good, right? Like, he'd play younger guys, he'd play guys who we maybe didn't necessarily want on the squad, but who we needed to put in the shop window so that we could get rid of them, right? Like, he was willing to kind of do things that might not get the results we all wanted, which of course all the criticism goes to him, but for the sake of the greater good, right? He would sort of sacrifice. By not playing Jallo, by playing Sally, right? By playing the guys with veteran experience, whatever, it feels like Sergen's making it clear that he's not at all willing to put the greater good above trying to get the result at all costs. And the irony, of course, is... What was that? Oh, anyway, the irony, of course, is I think that he's hurting his ability to get results as well, because there are better options at this point that he's kind of shooting himself in the foot by not playing. So,
yeah.
I don't know. At this point, you're right. Like it's. I feel like we have a tendency of. You said that excuses sometimes are legitimate, and I feel like typically we here try to come up with excuses for people. We try to give people the benefit of the doubt, because you're going to come in. Typically, the problem with our fan base is they're overly critical and they're too willing to throw everything under the bus. That's not the case here, and I think we're all out of defense, right? Like, what can we say? Like,
I think we
can diagnose the problem. We lack chance creation, and we're playing two strikers. We're playing a striker on the wing for some reason. Like,
and with,
what can you say?
Like, I think one of the problems is, like, for example, against Lausanne, the rhetoric there is, okay, with your Beşiktaş, you should be able to beat Lausanne even without wingers, but that's not how football works. It's like.
And I'm going to call it the Lausanne challenge, by the way. I challenge every single Beşiktaş fan, if they can stomach it, to watch the first half of the loss against Lausanne, which of course ends with them scoring a goal they didn't really deserve, fully against the run of play. The first half against Lausanne was, for me, the most attractive football we've played all year. And for one half, it looked like we had a plan, a vision that was coming into place. We kind of knew what we were doing, and all we needed was just a couple wingers to unlock a game plan. And of course, Felix gets a red card. The second half goes to shit, and Ole loses his job that same day. So it's kind of an ironic thing to watch, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But I challenge any one of you who's listening to watch that first half against Lausanne, because it's it's tragic.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was that attractive. I don't remember exactly. It
wasn't exceptional. It wasn't exceptional football. Yeah. But it was a brand of football. We had a game plan. You could see something starting to take shape. And when you watch it nowadays, right? I remember watching it way after the fact, because it was one of those games I struggled to find a replay of, and I was kind of shocked to see how much we've regressed.
One of the things that I think we said a couple of months ago maybe is, like, we need to stop looking at the past. We need to stop talking about Giovanni van Bronckhorst. We need to stop talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We need to do we need to stop doing these what ifs. The problem is that Sergen is not giving us a chance to stop thinking of the past. I mean, for me, the day this season ended the day Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got sacked. I think that put a bow around the season. That finished the season. It finished it, and that's not because I'm a big Ole Gunnar Solskjaer fanboy or anything like that. Like I
Not
like
at all.
I like Solskjaer.
I don't even know. I still want to know
Well,
what it would have looked like.
The jury was still very much out, but I think the most important thing with Solskjaer was he was a proper professional. He was a gentleman, and I think he was somebody that could have, like, he would have been a perfect, and we almost needed this, like a caretaker manager to see us through this season. And look, I think this squad is a lot better than people give it credit for, and especially I think if you incorporate
100%.
Especially if you incorporate all of the squad, because the problem is, like we said, like Sergen is utilizing like 60% of it, and he's like he's dismissing the whole bullshit around Rafa. We lost our arguably best player because of that. That's on Sergen. That might also be in large part on Serdal Adalı for running the club as chaotically as he does. But also, it's definitely there's definitely a problem there between Rafa and Sergen. But also, Jota not being utilized. Whether or not you think Jota was the right transfer for the left winger position or not, the fact is we should be using him, but we aren't really. And yeah, you can say, okay, but can't he play 30 minutes today? That's still having chances. Yeah, he played 30 minutes, but that's after you take off Cengiz, after you take off Tammy Abraham, and you give him like 10, 15 minutes with Černý, who's already tired at that point. I want to see him start with these players. I want to see him in the starting lineup. There's a big difference there. If you put, Rafa Silva in the last 10 minutes of a match, and his front line is Mustafa Hekimolo and Rashica as his partners, you're not going to get the same results as if his partners are Černý and Abraham and Cengiz or something along those lines, or Jota or whatever. Like, obviously, your mileage is going to vary significantly depending on the players you're playing with. So I think giving Jota these, even if it is a half an hour, but with a suboptimal front four, I think that's also almost sabotaging. And I feel like Sergen's been doing a lot of that, whether it's willingly, whether it's intentional or not. I feel like he's sabotaging not just certain players, but also the team by doing this. And honestly, for me, it's just waiting for the inevitable sacking or the inevitable leaving himself. Like, I feel like this season is completely finished until the manager goes and hopefully the president goes. And we keep going back to this week after week after week. And I don't want to be the person who is screaming for resignations and screaming for another election, but they're making it impossible. What else are we left with? Right? Exactly.
We can't just keep flogging the same dead horse. Like, we're playing, like, the tactical errors, the formation errors are the same every week. So it's I mean, I feel bad. I feel so bad for some of the players, like a guy like Ersin, who's going out there and like theoretically reclaiming a career, it's completely overshadowed by just how terrible the team is playing.
But at
least, feel bad for
at
guys.
Least these people are making a lot of money. They're not having to watch this shit.
That's true.
We have to watch this.
Yeah, that's true.
The fans have to watch this shit. I feel sorry for the fans, and I feel sorry for the level-headed fans. I don't feel sorry for those people who ushered this in, who created this problem in the first place, because those are the people that they deserve to see this right now. The people who were calling for Ole's head at the time, and who were
how funny is it that like Firat Günaye, right? Like he's like, oh my god, Sergen can't handle the job. Thanks, pal. Thank you for that. That little gift. Any journalist that wants to jump ship now should like fully jump ship. Like maybe even in real life, jump off of a ship into the ocean. Like, go away, please. No, don't kill yourself, please. I don't want to be on film saying that. But I mean, just go take a vacation in the Caribbean or something. Stop writing about Beşiktaş. Leave us alone. These people, like, the people that have undermined our club and brought us to this point should have no say in the future of the club, criticizing what's going on, anything. Like, I think it's time for those folks to just stop. They've done their damage.
Yeah.
Like, and that for me, far more than the fans themselves, because fans are going to be stupid. Like the whole pitchfork and mob thing, it's going to happen. It's the guys who are leading the pitchforks. It's the talking heads and the quote unquote media, for me, that really deserve the most credit for where we are.
It's not like it was all rose. How did you say that? Rose, blah blah blah, and sunshine and rainbows and all that kind of stuff under Ole. It wasn't. I mean, look, there were a lot of disappointments with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but there were also highlights. And those those highlights, I think you can't put them away. There were plenty of those. I feel like every derby
victory,
we won every derby, Athletic Club. So like, obviously, look, the disappointment.
The rise from 7th place to competing for 3rd place till the last day, right? Like, there was something to be playing for.
And obviously there's disappointments to offset that. The 9-man loss against, losing against a 9-man against a 9-man Konyaspor, not being able to capture 3rd place, even though they had, they put it on a silver platter for us. So there's plenty of disappointments as well. But we all recognized at the time that he was working with a very limited squad. Also a squad that was low on morale. I feel like he never quite got, it would have almost been better had we not qualified for Europe, because I think the early European games against Shakhtar really, really cost him his head. If we would have qualified for the Europa League, if we would have finished in 3rd place, we would have had a much easier time getting into Europe. Ultimately, I do think that not being able to finish 3rd cost him his head as well, if you look at it that way, because we would have been guaranteed league stage football had we finished 3rd. And having to play Shakhtar early in the season really. And honestly,
that
look,
semi-goal, Khan. The semi-goal.
The goal, the disallowed semi-goal changed a lot.
That's it.
But yeah.
And I wonder, dude, that the corruption that's being unearthed, like, that's absolutely up there amongst the things that should be investigated.
I mean, he was not. That referee was not named, I think. So, and
I'm joking a little bit, but just a little bit.
But yeah, I mean, look, that just goes to show you how details really do decide outcomes of seasons, of matches, of careers, coaching careers. Obviously, look, Ole does deserve criticism for not reaching the league stages. Obviously, the way it went against Lausanne, it was unfortunate. It was a little bit unlucky, and it was mainly also down to the fact that we didn't have wingers available. But, details, the red card for Felix, maybe if he doesn't get sent off, maybe it's a different game. We were 1-0 down at the time. But at the end of the day, I think, we should have stayed the course regardless. We should have seen through this season with Ole in charge. And then at the end of this season, then we could have made decisions. His contract would have been up as well anyway. But, yeah. And now it's just like... It's
kind of Ertuğrul Saylan all over again.
But now, I think the worst part is that it feels now as if the longer you keep Sergen around, the more you're going to burn players, and they're going to be useless to you in the future. Because I think that...
Tammy is getting pissed. Do you see that when he came off?
Well, I think there's this... Like we did with Rafa, I think that bridge has been completely burned. Now, whether you want to put all the blame on the club, or you want to put part of the blame on Rafa, obviously, it takes two to tango. But at the end of the day, the result is the same. The bridge with Rafa has been burned. The chance of him ever playing for Beşiktaş again are very small at the moment, and they probably won't change. And I think, that's a situation where you have a player who just doesn't want to be here anymore. But I also think you're going to have situations with players that maybe they don't mind staying so much, but like they're going to get burned in the eyes of the fans. And we know how our fans are. Like, look when Tammy came off, he got booed. Like, and Tammy has Tammy been has Tani been a huge success? No. But he isn't a bad
Nor
player.
has he been a huge failure.
He's not a bad player. There's, you should be able to do something with a player like that. You should be able to get certain amount of success with a front four like Czerny, Rafa, Tammy, Cengiz, Touré, Silva.
Jota,
Exactly. Jota Silva, that's what I meant, sorry. So, like, you should
Just
be able to
play
get
them
some success
once.
with
Play
those
them
players.
once.
You can form
We
a
brought
decent front
in the
four with that.
guys.
Yeah.
We brought the guys in to play in certain positions. Just one time, dude. Just play them. Like, what?
Yeah.
What is it? Like, that's
now,
such a stubbornness.
Now
man,
you're
that
creating a situation where
argue
there's
with
going to
that.
be a lot of these players, new arrivals, that at the end of the season, maybe even in January already, they're going to be players that you want to get rid of. And they might not want to be here anymore themselves. And you've burnt them. Whether it's in the eyes of the fans, whether it's for themselves, whether, it's not... I don't think a player... I think you can be a good player and still have no chance of succeeding at a club. I think that at a certain point, there's a point of no return where you're that burnt at a club that that success there isn't possible anymore. I think, for example, look, everyone knows I'm not a fan of Milot Rashica, but I think Milot Rashica is a lot better than what he has shown to us in the last 18 months or so. I think if you put Milot Rashica in a different club, different environment, I think you can get better out of him. But I think at Beşiktaş that ship has sailed. It's no longer possible. And look, Rashica is not even, in my opinion, not even like a good player. But like you can have good players like a Tammy Abraham, like Vaclav Černý, like Jota Silva. I think these are players that if at a certain point you're going to reach a stage where their story at Beşiktaş is finished, but that doesn't mean that they're bad footballers, And I think we're running the risk of a lot of the new players that we signed this summer that should theoretically be laying foundations to build on for the coming years. We're going so quickly through them. It's like, like a cigarette that you're lighting at both ends, or a candle that you're lighting at both ends. We're just burning it super quickly.
And there's another side to it, Khan, which is that you're not just burning out individual players, you're also burning out references, right? And so now you have a situation where, if you want to get a Portuguese player, they're likely to try to go through Rafa Silva, more so than maybe even Quaresma at this stage, for younger players. Maybe. Same thing with like Czech players, right? They're gonna go through Eurosec, and hopefully Czerny's opinion offsets his, but English players too, and now it's not just Ox, but it's Tammy who's gonna leave here disgruntled. So it's just becoming a thing where we're becoming reputable in a very negative way as this just unstable beast that like you can get your money maybe in
the past you had positive references. You had like you said Quaresma, you had Guti who would maybe tell Spanish players you can go there. You had Fabianez, you had Mario Gomez, you had those players telling maybe German players you can go there. They would talk to them, and
you'd be a legend.
You have these positive references, and now it's all turning sour. And like you said, like the next generation of Portuguese players, maybe they're gonna think twice before they go to Beşiktaş. The next generation of Czech players, maybe they're gonna think twice. It's a very good point that you're making, Sinan. I think you're burning not just players individually, like you said, you're also burning the potential of future stars coming to your club, because right now it's just being managed so poorly from the top down. The president is doing very poorly, but also his choice for manager. I think, I've been super critical in the past of Şenol Güneş's ability to manage, and I definitely think that he has created some bad references. I think someone like Loris Karius is not going to talk fondly of his time at Beşiktaş, and that's in large part due to how he was treated by Şenol Güneş. Because I remember him saying in an interview, like, he never even talked to me. I was his first keeper and he didn't even talk to me. He never spoke to me personally. Stuff like that. Like, that is not good. But I've been very negative, very critical of Şenol Güneş's ability to manage players. But I think Sergen takes the cake. He's like, shit, I'll hold my beer. I'll do you one better. I'll be even worse to these players, you know? Like, I cannot imagine that from the foreigners, other than El Bilal Touré maybe, and maybe Ndidi, maybe, I don't think a single one of these players likes working with Sergen Yalçın. And quite frankly, I think a lot of the Turks don't like working with Sergen Yalçın. Because if you're Demir Ege Tiknas, if you're Kartal Kayra Yilmaz, why would you like this experience? Why would you like to work with this guy? Like, you know, I think genuinely 80% of that dressing room probably wants him gone sooner rather than later. I can't imagine them enjoying this working relationship. Kartal, I'm going to throw to you. I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think the only players that probably like working with Sergen Yalçın are the experienced Turks.
Mm.
You know, your Salihoushans,
Maybe, yeah.
Najib.
And you know, the irony of
those
that,
guys, you know what I
Kartal,
mean?
isn't Sergen the one who sent Salihouchan packing in the first time around, and he sent him to Başakşehir on loan?
No, that was Ünder Karavelli. Sergen was already gone by that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was Sergen. But he wasn't playing much, at least. I'm sure he wasn't playing much.
He
under
wasn't
Sergen.
playing much, but I think, honestly, man, I've seen Destan Oğlu, Rıdvan Yılmaz,
Yeah.
Necip Uysal, Salihouchan.
I mean, Necip.
These are
I
the
don't-
guys that are happy to work with.
Do you think Necip
With, Sergen
particularly
Yalçın, I
happy
think.
with that? I mean, he's not like he's been seen. But obviously, Ersin and Rıdvan, look, they'll probably have a certain fondness for Sergen because he gave them their breaks in the first time. And now
Yeah,
Ersin
and they went
getting...
great with him.
Yeah, and now both Ersin and Rıdvan are kind of getting like relaunched. At least Ersin is grabbing that opportunity. So yeah, those guys I can imagine, like you said, they might enjoy working with him. But even if they like him personally and they like working with him, they also have to be like, you know, they're part of this team. They're seeing around them that the team atmosphere is probably gone to shit.
It's hurt.
You know, like
Yeah.
I don't think I think even the players that like him probably aren't enjoying their time.
No, he
at the
has
club.
to go. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I mean,
Yeah.
it's like going into work every day. You go into the office every day, and the work atmosphere is through the floor. You know, like it's really really poor. Everyone's morale is low. People are mopey. Nobody's enjoying being there. People just can't wait to clock out. That's the vibe I'm getting from this. Like Gattel said, they looked hungry in the first half, and I do agree to an extent. But like, you can also tell, like, as soon as like even it doesn't even have to be a bad thing. Like as soon as we go a goal up, they even don't know what to do. They don't know how to react. Like they can't respond well to adversity. But that's not even adversity. You're going to goal up, and your opponents are reacting in a certain way and are pushing, and you don't even know how to handle that. Like as soon as the game plan A goes out the window,
As soon as there's any pressure of any kind, positive or negative, even just the pressure of expectation is too much.
Yeah.
It's a sorry state, and what's worse is that we're regressing visibly. You know, we're getting worse every week. It seems like we're underwhelming more and more, and you see players individually kind of checking out, becoming more disenfranchised.
Yeah, I mean, you know what?
We're in a bad way.
I think the
We're in a
worst.
very bad
I
way.
think the worst thing is, see now, it's not just the players; it's the fans. I mean, we talked about this last episode, but we'll call it Beşiktaş fatigue. I think a lot of I don't think we're the only ones. I think a lot of Beşiktaş fans are feeling that, probably for the first time in their lives. Okay, maybe you've had like some spells of it in the past, but I think this is. I can only talk for myself, of course, but this is definitely the worst by far.
No.
Like,
Me too.
Not even
Me too.
close. Like I said last week, if it wasn't for the podcast, I don't think I would be watching the games right now. I think I'd be taking a break.
I contemplated not waking up as early as the game started, or to wake up, you know, because you want to wake up a little bit before, eat, and all that type of stuff, go to the bathroom. But I contemplated not doing that and just watching it on delay, because like BN USA is pretty good about uploading it. But obviously, like, you know, my inner Black Eagle couldn't abide. But like, I've never in my entire life even at our worst, even like the last Channel hire, which you all know how I felt about, I would eagerly anticipate the whistle being blown to start the match. Like this was the first time where I was like, it doesn't matter if I see it live or if
it feels like a job now to watch the team.
Yeah.
And
there's no joy in there.
Yeah. I mean, once the game starts and they're like in the first half, it wasn't too bad, but then in the second half, like I had a really tough time keeping like my concentration. Yeah, because as soon as we scored and the game turned,
I didn't even notice Rashica come on, to be honest.
Oh, I mean, at this point, that's his go-to sub. Rasic says his go-to sub.
He's a super sub.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, which says it all, really. Like, it's also so funny because for people who want to play the kind of two sides, like Ole wasn't good, they'll pick on certain results from last season.
Yeah, the Konya game without looking one, every time. Konya game, the Konya game's the one every single time.
And they refuse to look at the context. They refuse to look at the guys missing, the guys who were playing because Ole was putting them in the window, like all the sort of the sort of contributing factors that went into that. The fact that we lacked depth to such a degree last season that we were really at like a complete loss. We played guys fully out of position. We had Mucci playing left wing back in one game. Like there was all kinds of wackiness at play, and that was forced upon on Ole. And it's so wild to see people sort of doing mental gymnastics to come up with ways to sort of legitimize where we are right now, rather than just seeing it for what it is. And I mean, it's mismanagement. It's a guy who's like burned the locker room that he needed to support him if he was going to have any success. I mean, I don't know what Sergen expects. How many guys can he get rid of in January and replace? That's gonna make it so that the locker room isn't broken.
And also just
point,
like
right?
who wants to work in an atmosphere like this? Like where
who's coming here? Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. There were some faint chants for Yönetimİstifa towards the end of the game and after the full-time whistle. I expected more, honestly. I expected the crowd, because actually a decent turnout for this game. I expected it to be a lot more. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
It's almost like the fans can't be bothered either at this point.
I don't know. Either we, the three of us, the community around the podcast, we seem to be fed up a lot more than the fans in the stadium, because yes, there were Yönetimİstifa chants, but it was like not sustained. And not super loud, and even that to me is disappointing. Like, yeah, like I understand the atmosphere in the game not being great because the team isn't like giving the fans a reason to get fired up, but like then the protests being so underwhelming, that's disappointing. Like even that gives me like almost no desire to watch, because it's like you want to see
holding them to account.
They need to be held to account. And this is only gonna prolong this process. Like the milder the fans react, the longer Sergen's gonna stay in place, the longer Adalı is gonna stay in place.
You know why? You can't, right? Because Adalı has come out in social media and talked about how there's this like shadow campaign, and everyone who's doing that is like anti-Beşiktash. So he's almost like tried to preempt.
Nobody buys that.
But he's clearly trying to preempt people's reaction.
Yeah, but Ahmet Nur Çebi.
I hope nobody's falling for that.
Ahmet Nur Çebi talked about the trolls. Hasan Arat talked about he talked about the trolls. He had his own. I mean, these people, like they talk about the online trolls and all that kind of stuff, but then they literally go out and hire people to spread propaganda in their favor. Like they pay people to do that shit, you know?
Yeah, they have troll armies themselves.
That's the irony of it, is that they talk about trolls. And like, look, obviously there are trolls out there, but I think like dismissing legitimate fans' opinions and criticism as, oh, those are just trolls, that is so disrespectful. That's so insulting. We're the people who are spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of euros every year to watch this team on merchandise. Fucking hell, Sina, I'm seeing you're already wearing the gray shirt from this season, for example. Like, that alone, that's like what? That's like $150 just to get it shipped to you, right? If not more.
Luckily, my mom went to Turkey, so she
Okay.
picked it up. She got an extra large, but I mean, it's actually not bad. It
looks great.
Baggy fit.
Yeah, I think
I have
it looks,
a long sleeve.
I think it
I'm
looks
wearing
great.
a long sleeve shirt under.
I think it looks great.
Yeah.
It's a shame because it's a great looking shirt and it's getting ruined on a shit season.
For anyone who wants to know, I've now officially jinxed Orkun.
Oh,
Although, frankly, anyone who wants to blame me for jinxing anyone should just look at. I think we can safely say that it's the board that's in the Congress that have jinxed us sort of permanently. So I'm not taking blame for that anymore.
Yeah.
And I have the shirt we wore today, by the way. This is because last week I didn't get the chance to do it, so I'm showing off a little.
That's fine.
I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say about what we're doing as a club. We are rudderless. We're completely rudderless. I don't know. Anyone who's not dissatisfied should be ashamed of themselves, because like, how can you watch what we're seeing week in, week out and come away with that just like okay with what with the state of things? That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like I'm happy it's almost December, because that means the season is on. Like once it's January, the season's only 5 more months.
Yeah, there we go.
This is like if this season would end tomorrow, I would not be sad about it. Like.
Yeah, if only the referee thing had blown up to the extent that they had to like cancel the rest of the season. That's kind of low key what I was hoping for. Yeah. Let's just like strike this one off the record. Yeah. Clearly, this one didn't pan.
Just want to just go through the stats, guys, and then look through the comments and close this out, man. Because I think
there are no comments.
There's no comments, man. There's no people.
There's no comments.
People don't wanna watch a show about how shit we are right now. Like, I don't blame them.
But also, with the technical issues, it's because of the technical issues.
The only reason I'm saying let's take a break because people aren't watching anyway is because I don't want to be when everything was shit, you guys weren't here. You're only here for the good times, you know. Because inevitably we're gonna get back to those good times. It just feels like they're far away, but
few and far between.
We'll be able to say we were here when shit was fucking ridiculously bad. Like, oh my god. Like, let's run these stats down quickly.
Yeah, I'll do it quick. Beşiktaş had 62% of the ball to Samsun's 38%. They had a higher XG, 1.73 to our 1.61. I thought real quick I'd see if they've updated it. But while I'm doing that, I'll just read what we have here. We each had 14 shots. They had 6 on target to our 2. We had 2 big chances. They had 3. They missed 2. We only missed 1. So we are the champion of missed big chances. Congratulations to us. We completed 433 passes to their 251. We completed it at an 83% clip to their 75%. 10 fouls committed by us to their 17, so I guess we can't complain about the ref too much. Each got 2 yellow cards. 1 offsides apiece, 4 corners for us, 3 corners for them. These stats for me are almost meaningless. Go on, Cartel. How about them duels?
So for the duels, we won 55 out of 45. It's quite funny how it's worked out there. There was exactly 100 duels in the game and we won 55. They won 45, so we won 55%. Ground duels 35 to 32 in our favour. We won 52%. Aerial duels 20 to 13 in our favour. We won 61% of them. Dribbles. We completed 9 dribbles at a 60% clip. That tells you what we tried, maybe about 15 or 16. They completed 6 dribbles at a 60% clip, so that tells you what they maybe tried, 11 or 10. That is exactly 10, sorry. Exactly 10 it would be.
Okay.
6
Well, those are the stats to yet another disappointing result. We'll be back next week, hopefully. Maybe Sinan will have to host because obviously my internet issues might still be there. I'm gonna call them again tomorrow. I'm just gonna keep complaining. I'm just gonna start calling every goddamn day. Next game is against Karagümrük, who are bottom of the table or near bottom of the table. So hopefully we can pick up a win next week against Karagümrük on the road. And we'll be back then to talk to you about that game. Hopefully we'll be able to be a little bit more. Maybe hopefully we'll see some light at the end of the tunnel, but I doubt it because whether we win or not, things aren't changing. Like it's like last week at Antalyaspor. We won the Antalyaspor game, but like nothing really changed. The situation doesn't change.
These bastards. Of course they're going to play on November 30th. So the Schwarting report, which is supposed to come out on December 1st, is going to be delayed because I have to rewatch that match, which is taking place the day before.
Yeah.
Slid one more match into my freaking match analysis there. Yeah. Shall I take a second?
Little prediction, maybe, guys. How long do you think that things are gonna stay unchanged? How long do you think that Sergen is gonna stay at the helm? That Adalı is gonna stay at the helm? Like, if I'm looking at our schedule right now, so we've got Karagümrük next week. You think March?
I say the two of them stay till near the end of the season and then resign. Because I think they keep pointing to January. So we'll see once January comes and goes, and if it's still shite, they've run out of excuses. So I think it'll be after January, maybe March.
I think unless we start losing games, like if we start losing like 3-4 games in a row, what do you think, Sinan? What do you think it's gonna take? Because it's inevitable, right? Like there's no return from this. There's no way back unless we go on like a crazy run in the second half of the season where we win almost everything.
Yeah, no, I think you guys are right. The summer has to be when it happens. I can see them both being stubborn and holding out as long as possible. And I think Adalı would recognize that when Sergen goes, he's done. So it's like a tandem thing. I think they're both gone.
The big question is how much damage is gonna be done by then. Like January, what is January going to do? Like, is it going to further alienate certain players? Are they gonna get them to leave? Are they going to devalue? Like, for example, like if you start fucking with Abraham now and you start like dropping him, and I don't know what, like that's a player we invested a lot of money in. 15 million euros transfer fee, but also a really high wage. Like getting him to leave, getting him to go somewhere else.
Who are we talking about? Sorry,
Tammy Abraham. You know that's.
Oh my god, yeah.
So the question is like, what are we doing? What is January gonna do? Because if you want players to leave, for example, Felix Urukai, trying to get him to go, like maybe he's okay with leaving, but like. We're not in a position to devalue players. Like, we paid 15 million euros for Tammy Abraham. He's got 10 goals, 2 assists in 19 games so far. Like, if you can get him scoring some more goals, if you can get him hot, like in the next in the next month and a half, you can get him to bag 5-6 goals. Yeah, maybe then you can sell him in January for what you bought him for, you know? He's an English player at the end of the day, and they need homegrown players in the Premier League, and statistically, he's not having a bad season. But if you're gonna start benching him for El Bilal Touré, or if you're gonna bring in a new striker in January and bench him then the second half of the season, you're just, you're sabotaging yourself again. Like, you want to get rid of players, but you're not making it easy to offload them when you're making it so clear to the outside world that you want rid of these players. You know, when it's like when you're selling something on a second-hand site and you're really desperate for money, you know? Like, people are never going to give you what you would want for it because you want to buy drugs and you need to sell your shit really quick so you can get high. That's what we're like, man. We're like crack addicts.
Literally. Literally.
Anyway, go to
We need a striker. We need a striker.
patreon.com/BesiktasPodcast.
We need another striker.
Hit the join button if you want to suffer some more. And I'm going to hand it over to you, Sinan. And please take us out. And sorry again for the poor buffering issues today. I hope it sorts itself out, but otherwise I'll have to re-upload.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say like, follow, subscribe, and all that, despite our technical issues, because typically we're doing things better than this, and we will. As soon as the next episode, we'll figure it out one way or another. But so yeah, stay tuned. Our next match is against Fatih Karagümrük. It is next Sunday, November 30th. We're back to a noon game here in New York, so whatever your local listings are, check them. I think that's like 7 p.m. in Turkey. But so yeah, despite everything, let's go Beşiktaş! Haha, right? Something like that. Let's go Beşiktaş! That's about as much as I can muster. But I will muster the shout. Shout to Özkan, no comment, Erzabasci. Nathan, Nate Dog, David. Finish, not the Swedish kebab. Tristan Berkey Crane, Michael Berry, Umer Gunal, Mr. Positive, Tayfur Yaylagul, Zarfer, Özcan Oğur. Whoa! Who's that? Who's that? Özcan! Atilcan Malak, the Pope, Papa, Murder, Merter Mer, Rifat Caner, Anil Turk, Blacko 54. What's his nickname again?
The benefactor.
The benefactor! There it is. Tara, the Irishman Henty. Mario 1 and the 2 and the 3. Vargas. Onur Secher. Nial Tariq. Sebastian, the not sporting director, High Batman, the vigilante Turk. Nasty Naz. Nasser. Mr. Man U / Beşiktaş, sort of. And of course, the indefatigable, the indubitable, the indomitable, the Dutch Eagle, Luffy Nancier. Peace out, everybody! That's